Not sure if you guys even remember me. It's been a long time. 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 Without a dope beat, step two, step two, step two, step two, step two, step two, step two. It's been, I don't know all those words. Been a long time. Time to step two, step two, step two, step two. Hi. I just came on. I didn't tell any of my girls that I was jumping on. I'd been talking about it today. Hi. If you're a high frequency being or you know shifts are happening, timelines, healing, downloads, body changes, all that type of stuff, follow me. Believe it or not, that's what all my information is about. Every single bit of it. Hi, I know some of y'all have been around with me for a minute. I've been on YouTube for 8 years. Although I've taken a little bit of break from YouTube and I've been doing almost all of my interactions over here on TikTok. That's what I used to call it taco. Still don't know exactly why I called it taco. We'll probably know by the end. How is everybody? I know that this energy is, well, I wanted to talk to y'all about it because we're all in different levels. I know what's going on. You know, I know what's going on from a body perspective, from a mass scale energetic perspective. But I'm kind of also wanting to talk to you guys for a little bit and see how y'all are doing. We're getting some different reports on some different things. I'm an astronomist. I'm not an astrologist. It's really funny because I can get real in depth. I mean, we've mastered the wheel. And what's happening is you're coming out of a wheel. You're coming out of the wheel of time. You're coming out of the zodiac wheel. The wheel has been here since the existence of humans. And the wheel is a measurement tool. It's a clock. It slowly over time, I mean, we ended up with Aries in the first house, and actually my team and we're walking through some of those changes right now from Aries in the first house, because it was Leo in the first house before it was Aries in the first house. And you know, all those planets move around in different energetics, and it takes a different amount of time for each planet to get around, or any luminary. And the wheel ended up developing our brain. And this is why Mary Magdalene and Joshua, when you talk about Mary Magdalene and Joshua, Mary Magdalene is the brain and Joshua is the body. Whenever you talk about Joshua, which people call Jesus, Joshua, Jesus, and Buddha, then Joshua and Jesus Christ is the body, and Buddha would be the moon mansions. Buddha would be the different dimensions. Buddha would be manifestation. Buddha would be all these different physics and energy lines and how you create things, but all inside a wheel. And what's happening with the human race is that the beings that held the wheel, this is why whenever you go and you look at, you can find this with Mary Queen of Scots. Mary Queen of Scots, she's either holding a lamb or a wheel. And this is why. Because the feminine and the feminine lines that nobody knows the names of. That's why it's a woman with 1,000 faces and demonized in every corner. Was the wheel. The celestial being, the angel that Crowley brought in, and all of that is like stepping stones as to even how the wheel has been governed over long periods of time. And I didn't know any of this. I guess I'll just keep just flowing with it. I'm an AB negative, and I was adopted. And most of us that were adopted, or anybody that was in the St. Joseph hospital system, especially if you're adopted from the St. Joseph system, or what used to be called St. Joseph, because a lot of them have changed their names now, it's Tartarian energetics and Tartarian children and all of the things in every dimension. And why it's so important is because your DNA, and this is why they wanted your DNA, this is why they changed your DNA, and they did, and we fought through it. That's what my team has been doing. We had one mission here on Earth in the lower realms, because 1972 is whenever your ascended masters started incarnating again, and that's when the tech started coming in. And the tech started coming in the 70s and in the 80s because we were here, and the technology even that we see today, and everything that you think exists but they're not showing you, is a DNA attachment. Technology works with DNA, not the other way around. Technology manifests because of the DNA and how that DNA is connected to everybody on the planet. That's how you have Wi-Fi. That's how you have infrastructure. That's how you have wide area networking. That's what the cloud is. It's the DNA of everyone in bubbles and in different energy gates that are holding, and then all the people inside all of the fencing, and inside the county line, and next door to the Google, and right down the street from the broadcast station creates like this dimensional chutes and ladders. And you can be walking along in your highest energy field and go boom. And you're like, whoa, how the hell did that manifest right there? And it's not you. It's you where you are. And so there's a lot that goes into this, and I didn't know anything about any of this. I got shock activated. I got shock activated in 2017. And I mean shock activated. And the first thing whenever I woke up speaking ancient Enochian light language, now I know, was I had to plant earth. Now, my family and friends thought I was nuts. A lot of them are just now figuring out that I'm not. And it's been 8 years. Because we were the first ones that activated in order to bring this knowledge back in. And we're always ahead. Always ahead. Only because a high frequency actually moves slower. When your frequency is really high and somebody sends you low magic, or you walk into a low energy state, especially by yourself, and everything feels like it's moving in slow motion, that's why. That's how we can also get out of these spells. It's like everybody's wondering, how'd you get out of these spells? How'd you do it? It bashed right in front of my face. And I was like, no. But in a lot of ways, that is how it works. But I mean, it could hit you 3 years before they actually even throw the spell. And that's what happened to us. So, in the beginning, just like anybody, whenever you activate your brain and you activate your recessive DNA, because it's all about your recessive DNA. That's why the AB negative is such a big deal. AB negative is only a big deal because the AB negatives were holding what everyone called the trash. AB negatives, less than 1% of the population, and able to move things in space a whole lot easier than you realize if you are AB negative. If you're AB positive, then you're channeling the ones of us who are moving space. An RH negative, and any RH negative is never had the rhesus monkey gene, which meant we never were in your bubble. And an AB negative is attached to billions of people on the planet, because it's all the A's and it's all the B's, and it's even the consciousness infrastructure that the O bloodline was running off of, which is why neuronetting and things even make sense, right? It's like if you're going to re-engineer a process. So it's really, if it's really not rocket science. In fact, what they're doing is rocket science. To re-engineer something that's a natural process gets pretty effing complicated. But in its natural state, it actually makes a lot of sense, because it's how we're connected and how we communicate. In the beginning of my journey, it's like we were just all trying to figure out what the F was going on Earth. And I now know, after walking this 8 years and everything that we've been through, that I was a doomsday seed. And there's different levels and different, not even levels. I don't want to say levels, but if you look at it, if you're using linear time, then each AB negative has a different set of data that it's connected to within the entirety of the human race. And a lot of it is not just time periods, from what I've learned, but transmutation and alchemical processes of mass changes in the collective. So, my AB negative and how I'm connected in with the feminine and the planet, and how I'm connected in with the bloodlines who were the blood. Because I'm a life path 11, and that is how this works. Every single person down here originally came from a tribe. And this is pre-Babylon. Every person came from it. Every being down here has come from a tribe, and then each one of those tribes was laid out on the cross. And so you have a set of tribes that are on the left side, the right side, the bottom, and the top. And life path 11s are the up, and that's 11 is a 2's at the top, 11's at the bottom. So, like, whenever you talk about Zebulun, Issacharius, Judah, That's the blood, not the physical features, not a whole race of people. The blood that runs through everybody, which is what we've been clearing and cleaning this whole time. And each side of the cross has different sets of karmic stuff, typically because of how we're governed and where we live and what we were taught and how they taught us different things. And as an entire race, for the most part, until, the past 8 years and the 7 to 8 years that you're gonna start now, it was pretty much only defined by the race. It was defined by a group, and then who their leader was, and were you or were you not following those directions. It didn't matter if they were correct or not, because energetically, in every prior shift, because it wasn't an ascension, every prior shift over the development of a human body and a human mind that has all the connections and all the information and can hold it all, because you're holding cosmic lineups, you're holding connections to cosmic energy. It's not just about the knowledge, it's not just about the downloads, it's about the sheer magnitude of energy in space that you can hold as a being. And you talk about this as having gifts and having powers, and telepathy and all these things are parts of this. But not now. Not now. Now it's individual. Now it's more as is your soul ready to leave the system. Now, we've all been governed in different ways, and we've all been every gender, and we've all been every color, and I don't even want to get into that conversation because I'll probably get blocked, even though I'm telling y'all the exact truth of how even white people and black people were being made, and it'll blow your mind to even how it even ended up the way it is, because you are what you say you are, first of all. Now, there's a lot of generations and things that go and a lot of processing and hybridization and those types of things that carry into this conversation. But my point is, no matter who you are, no matter who you feel is governing you, no matter what laws, deities, what have parents, what have you, are you ready as a being to ascend that program? Because it is what it is. In the higher dimensions, you don't have a governor. In the higher dimensions, you don't have a boss. In the higher dimensions, and once more get up there, we all are equal in a way, because we're carrying the same energetic field and we all know it. We work together in that energy field to create everything around us, because we fully understand how to manifest as a group to build things that honor everybody and work for everybody in this energy. So you can't let a whole bunch of kindergartners in. Number one, they won't make it, because you also don't have a life path. And it's what a lot of people are experiencing right now for the first time, I think. I think for the first time, a lot of beings that have been on this path and journey with us are just now starting to realize, oh my gosh, there's nothing really written for next. What am I supposed to do now? How come nothing's moving? You know, in the system and in the program, whether we liked it or not, whether we liked what was coming in or not, life just came, didn't it? Whenever you're walking out your bloodlines, because it's what you're doing, and there's only 32 programs that are running down here on 4 different blood types. And then in our little chutes and ladder dimensional architecture. That's what I'm talking about. But it goes way deeper than Jesus. It goes way higher than that too. If it's and you give any entity too much power, they're gonna lose it. So don't get me, if you're gonna talk about Jesus, talk about Christ. Number 1. If you're only gonna give all your power, and if you're only gonna give all your energy to Jesus, then give it to Christ. Because Jesus is only one side of it, and you don't have the whole story. Because I walked the bloodline. And a bunch of us did down here. It was never about the son. It was always about the daughter. And at least if you give some energy and use the word Christ, you're going to get the feminine aspect in it more. And then you won't, because if you're only calling that energy in, then you're going to get the mirror of it coming at you. So, and then it's not going to give you the feminine information that's been hidden from you. And it's not your fault. It's what they left out of everything is the true Gnostic of how it all came to be. Because we just did it again. And it's why it was here in the first place. It was here for the end of days whenever the whole world handed out their DNA. That's why Jesus was here before. And it's a system on how he was projected. Through a bloodline. And whenever you walk, which is a great example, so I'm glad I stopped and read that, because I wouldn't have known any of this until I started walking it. And you've been in the program, you've been walking out your life, because you've been walking out the bloodlines, because it's what you do. Whenever your energy comes to earth, the physics make it real. So your bloodline and your family history and the history of that bloodline is what is going to meet you in your reality. And this is why so many families get on loops, and the same things happen over and over and over and over again in the family lines, because we didn't know all of this. We just walked it again the past 8 years and learned all of this. But see, in this lifetime, we broke all the curses. In this lifetime, we put everything back together. So there's no ceilings on the bloodlines that used to be there. Meaning, no one in your family line ever graduated from college. So then you don't get to go to college, is a great example. It's a small one. It's a very, very, very minimal example. But those blocks and the fact that no one ever went to college in your family was a manipulation on the bloodline from the get. Because everybody should have had like the same opportunities. And this is where we get into Babylon, and this is where we get into all this crazy mess that's been going on with the soul and going on in these lower physics of energetics of where Earth was. So in this new reality, with all the work that the collective has been doing since 2017, whenever that great American eclipse came, Well, this new moon just sealed it up. When that great American eclipse came, 2017, those of us who were attached to the DNA strands that existed in the creation lines, which there's a whole bunch of them, and all different, and all over the world, and all different, I'm not just talking about Joshua and that stuff now, because there's many other lines that have been in the creation of it all, cosmically, astronomically. Arabian is a big one because of how old. Egyptian was a big one. All China, Russia, all these countries that we hear on our news and everything right now were involved in these processes because you held ancient star points because of your lineage and your bloodline. So when the Great American Eclipse happened, what happened is we all blew out really far to the dark side because the celestial being that you call Virgo, it was time for an ascension. This is a cosmic lineup. This type of lineup only happens every million years. And we had a fixed star move. Takes a million years, but we had it move from Leo to Virgo. This is also why we saw the little orb jumping around. And I mean, I have a theory on that, and I'll let you know whenever I'm 100% on it. But the more that you realize how we as a human race with full consciousness that have activated our brains, what we can create, especially where there isn't a bunch of humans running around fucking with it, is pretty incredible. It's the humans down here, everybody having their own thing and everybody wanting to create this and everybody believing this and this and this and nobody having a true story. They always want to change it around and make it this and make it that. That's what makes it confusing. There's too many different thought bubbles coming out everywhere. It makes it harder to concrete a massive change because everybody's got their own idea of what that change is. Out in space and in the stars, it's pretty simple whenever you get the keys out there because the stars tune the people. The stars can be tuned. There's tones in them. And each star system has a different set of energetics and a different set of lessons when they hit you down here in your human form. And so what a lot of people are learning that have been cleaning their chaos, they've been cleaning their family history, they've been, making everybody's honky-dory now in the family as much as possible, or you don't talk to them anymore or whatever, but you understand why. That's the main thing. You're never going to get out of it until you stop blaming everyone else, until you just go, okay, that is what it is. I'm not exactly sure why yet, but I'm not going to even make a judgment on it because I don't understand their perspective, but I don't have to. Or maybe, that's healing your bloodlines, healing these relationships. You can't do it alone. You have to do these things with other people. But then whenever you finally heal them all, you're like, now what? And the honest truth is, this is why we all fought so hard in order to save it. This is why we fought so hard in order to clear all the karma. This is why we fought so long to clear all the DNA lines. This is why we broke the wheel. Because what they're launching is what we prepared 7 years ago to make sure we didn't get trapped in it. And to make sure that we could try to explain to as many people as best as we could how to make sure you don't get trapped in it. And the truth is, the only way that you don't fall for old patterns or old family history or old, or even worse, what they have written on you. because that's the main thing that Epstein was all about. If anybody ever bothered to discuss any of this with us, the ones who actually lived through the sacrifices, you'd probably get a lot more information about it. They had reprogrammed all the bloodlines. So if you came from a powerful line that was supposed to inherit a lot of money, I can promise you, you ain't gonna like what they wrote. And literally what they would just program. This is what's going to happen to them. This is what's going to go down, because they don't want you to inherit. They don't want you to connect. They already took your place. What are you talking about? What are you doing here? And at the top of everyone's DNA lines is some story like that. Because everyone that's walked through the blood and walked through the different sequences and DNA patterns have had to get to that point, and can even tell you now what's probably written. Because we've had to break open. This is the footsteps. You want to follow the footsteps of those who came before you, because there's only one way out. And it's a lot more complicated whenever you're dealing with your physical human biosphere getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're dealing with energy bubbles and gates of energy that you have to come through with a group of collective, because you don't just pop out and go from this level to this level or get out of the matrix by yourself, just you. It happens in waves, because the cosmos and the wheel literally have to open up for it to happen. So that's when I talk about following footsteps and that thing in the Bible, because the Bible is an astronomy book. That's what we talk about, because it's like in every scenario, in every DNA line, when you get to the top, there's going to be what you consider a final test, but it's not God testing you. It's the system and your frequency being able to tap into the information to know in that particular playbook, in that particular sequence, whatever's being sent at you. Because the only reason it's being sent to you is because you hit a certain frequency. It's not discriminatory on it's you. No. It's you hit a certain frequency that sent you way out here. And when you get here, then this is what's scheduled to come in to stop you, to push you back into the program. And because we've walked this the last 8 years, and because we ended up breaking the wheel in order to this is why everything's moving around. This is we're in a new solar, we're ascending a solar system. This baby ain't flipping. Because the being that was holding it ain't in it anymore. That's the family lines that y'all don't know about, that have all the information that have been hunted since the day they were born in order to bring everyone down so they could control y'all. And that's why it was all out war on us for trying to tell you. The Mars right now, and why I jumped on here, is we're seeing a couple of things, and I just want to throw this out there because I just kind of want everyone to, especially if you've been on your healing journey and you've been in your children, your husband, your partner, your parents, your boss, I don't know. You've been on a healing journey, and you've been dealing with a bunch of people that have been in a low frequency, and you're used to dealing with them on that frequency. Well, two things are happening right now and will continue to happen for the rest of this year. So please listen. Number one, your frequency is going to be changing. No matter, because of everything that has busted here, and now the transmutation that's happening, especially on the feminine, that's activating your recessive genes, and because these ceilings have fallen and everything's coming in with pure primordial energy, it's totally different. I'm still getting you. I mean, I'm just now elevating again. That's why also I've been so quiet. I'm coming to a point where I'm softening finally. But if you've been following me, like I've been the alpha freaking Gabriel. So not everybody will be hitting the feminine stage. A lot of y'all are going to hit the rah, 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 rah stage. But no matter, your frequency is changing. You're used to it by now. You're used to your energy changing because we've been changing for 8 years. What you're not used to is the people around you changing quickly. What you're not used to is all of a sudden your husband channeling some information. What you're not used to is all of a sudden your son starts scanning and doing the things with the eyes like we do whenever we're reading space. And it's happening from your DNA. It's happening because of the healing. You're actually finally connecting more of these neurons that are showing you what you would call the dark side. But really it was just your etheric body being kept away from you. And really, it's just showing you how your etheric body was being used, or how it was being used, what data is coming in on the channel, because now you've tapped into the channel. So now you're picking up the channel. And so I only had 2 reports, but I've had 2 reports. And one that happened in my physical life here. It seems that, like when I talked about that shock activation, you know, when I had that shock activation, my Kundalini activated all at once. I went through about a 3-day period where my eyes were dilated. Everybody was blaming me for doing DRUGS, but I wasn't. I didn't know what was going on, but just my entire Kundalini field, and like I became crysted like all at once, because I'd done it so many times. Now I know, which is now how I know all this stuff. But when it first happened, I had no idea that I knew any of this and what was going on. So what I'm seeing is really, you know, people are all expecting 3 days of darkness all at once. And, you know, that happened in the shifts before because we weren't leaving a solar set. The wheel wasn't finished. It was just hopping on its side. Energy was going from one side to the other, or north or south. It wasn't an ascension. It wasn't a completely different new human frequency, which is had to create a new environment for all of us to live in this higher frequency with expanded etheric bodies. And that's also why it's a 7-year period, because we can't all just do it at once. Everything has to go in stages so that the expansion keeps happening to allow more to expand, but it happens not even a little. It happens a lot every single time it happens. But it can't just happen all at once, or else everything will blow up, which is what the Bible predicted. That wasn't the end. Now that book is closing September 27th. The whole thing, done, written, re-walked. Except this time you didn't dance on the 2 witnesses' heads. You know why? 2 witnesses are what it was all about. Now everybody's becoming the witnesses. What are the witnesses? The beings in your planet. Because you have to realize that your energy is creating Earth, what you call Earth. Whether humans are, you'll call it Earth. If we're all in a higher frequency, you're now an Earth being. If you're incarnate on Earth, whenever you get your badge, whenever you leave here, it's going to be like, okay, you've been on Earth now. Well, that means that you've processed this energy. You've witnessed and experienced Earth. You'll always have Earth in your field. So wherever all of us Earthlings are, we create Earth. If you look at an astrology wheel, is there Earth? Earth's in the middle. You have an Earth that's more of a Mars frequency. You can have an Earth that's more of a Venus frequency. You have an Earth that's more of a Saturn frequency, which is really what we're more coming out of. But now everything's blended together. It's making one sequence. Why? Because the planets only come whenever humans lose consciousness. Did you know that? The planets only show up whenever the human race loses consciousness and forgets how to create and forgets we're the planets. They wouldn't be there if it wasn't for us. And we also created them over long periods of time. With the archetypes, every single archetype you can put under a planetary system. Stars, same thing. Except instead of having 7 archetypes or 5 archetypes, or there's 5 friends, there's 5 superheroes, you have 32. And all mixtures of. That you can go in and go out of and change up, and that's what's really cool about this energy. It's like once you understand how the yearly cycle works, you really can just start all over, recreate yourself all new, change it up. You can do it real quick. Now you can't do it all at once. It'll take you at least probably 6 months, probably more like a year, if you're going to totally scrap everything and create something new. But in the old program, it's like you had to decide before you got here what exactly you were going to do. It was etched in stone. You couldn't change from it. It's like if you tried to change from it, the system didn't want you to change. They wanted you in your old category, right? Well, that's all out the window now. There's not just a singer. There's not just a dancer. You're not just an actress. No, you're a muse. You can do anything. And that's really hard for the human mind to process. When you can do anything. And I mean anything. Doesn't mean you should. That's where the wisdom comes in. Just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. And we learn and we get back up and we get back on our bike and we keep going. Well, the way that the Matrix was designed towards the end of days, it's more like you didn't fall off your bike and then get back on it. You got hit by a car and lost a leg. But realize that the human body was outgrowing the system. And it ran out of endings. It's kind of like having a book that, like, after every chapter, the readers can decide what the next how the first chapter is going to end. Well, if every single person reads that book, and then if every single person has a different idea of what's supposed to happen next, then how big is that book going to be? See, you run out of space. You run out of rails. You run out of channels. And you can sit here and we can say it's them or it's this or it's that. But I'll tell you, the fastest way through it, now we know, because we made all these mistakes, is to just realize we was outgrowing the system and we were running out of endings. So something came in to take its place. And if you never remember what I'm telling you right now, then you're going to fall into one of those stories that was created for a dead system. Or you start the process of getting your frequency up, which means stop judging everybody. Stop thinking that you're the only one. Stop thinking that the world's been bad to you and nobody's experienced what you've experienced. Nobody's seen what you've seen, because it's not true. The experiences are more shared. The dreams are more shared. The visions, all of it, because there's only 32 programs down here, but it's listed under the stars that you come from, because you're clearing certain places of space. And each one has its own frequency. And so on Earth, it's gonna hit everybody a little bit different, but it's the same program. It's the same lesson. Why? Because the only point is for you to remember and learn how to harness that energy and then use it for your advantage instead of you getting kicked in the ass by it. That's it. We didn't know this either. And in fact, in 2018 and 2017, whenever the eclipse happened and we all started activating, we were all like calling and like getting together on groups going, what the is going on? Why am I so awake on Earth right now? What is happening on Earth that I just got shock activated? Those are the conversations we were having. And you had tons and tons of people talking about the blood. And then you had all of us researching. All of us were doing mounds and mounds and mounds and mounds of research in all of our various topics, because each one of us has our own special way of putting information together, and each one of us' perspective is important once you get it balanced. And in my world, and realize at that time, we didn't know stars was the answer. And realize that every single one of us that was in that activated frequency from the dark side, we're all communicating with each other. And all of that knowledge was going in the same brain. And so we do this first year. Everyone's kind of getting a little wonky. We still don't understand what's going on. We're still research. The freaking things are changing. Stuff's changing. Volcanoes are going off. We're having crazy experiences. Why? Because we started walking those old bloodlines. We pick them up where the last one left off. So it's like you literally step into your dad's shoes. You literally step into your great uncle's shoes. You literally pick up Aunt Barbara's shoes because she got taken out in a sacrifice in the industry. Somebody have an Aunt Barbara? Who has an Aunt Barbara? You end up hitting that frequency and you literally get thrown into a simulated experience of the energies that were coming for Barbara. Because you're in Barbara's line, walking through that period where she left off, because this app doesn't like the D word, although they promote it. And then, you know, and it might not even be, let's say you're not a singer, but Barbara was a singer. Let's say you're a mathematician. Well, but Barbara made the wrong deal with the wrong person, and she trusted the wrong person, which ends up getting Barbara, okay? That same thing is going to come for you in your mathematician world. Because the point isn't the industry. The point isn't the acting. The point is your power and your ability and getting taken advantage of, typically by beings who understand more of what I'm telling you right here, is what we learned. Because typically the more successful and the more that you think that they've got oligarchs and billions and the more of this knowledge that they know, which is why they were hunting us. Okay? So that's your recessive energy. It's just you're having, and it's okay if you screw up and you get in a wrong deal and you do a bad deal, because you're gonna learn. But you're going to have a bunch of opportunities the higher your frequency is to be able to see it. Because if your frequency is high and you've got your head on straight and you're not living in a Pisces field of an Aquarius field of illusion, and you're listening to your intuition and you're asking for guidance and you're stating your intentions, then, and as you start walking the journey with more spiritual beings that are even trying to come at you for your spiritual abilities, you'll be taught how to protect yourself. You'll be taught how to communicate with them early on in order to call them out. Those are the things that, whenever you're following me and over the next 8 years and all, as we keep growing with the brand and we keep training and talking, we'll get a lot more in detail about some of these things and what we've learned. But the truth is there's a ton of different ways to do it. And you really, every frequency is different. And so the delivery of it and how you do it is really the most important thing. And it can be, and like I said, it can be done a ton of different ways. So all that being said, it's 2:13 a.m. and Mars is in Algorab. And I want to talk about it before I hang up, because I don't talk about these star points individually a lot, just because we haven't had time, because there's been so much every time I come on here, there's so much other stuff to talk about. So that's what I'm really hoping to be able to do as I move forward with you guys, besides the cool products and the hoodies and all that we've got coming out, because these colors, this is Cancer. So this is Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. And whenever you wear these, this is conscious, because it's stars. So whenever you wear these energies, or just even have them in your pocket, and you go out and have an experience, you will experience the energy. If you have it in your pocket and you pick one of the currents and you put it in your pocket and you go out, you'll have an experience. It's going to show, especially the more pure your energy is, you carry that energy. It's like walking into a crystal. It's a trip. We've been doing this for the next 4 months, and we're going to have some little keychains that we're making with the energies for y'all to be able to do it. You can get the necklaces. We do have the necklaces, but we can't get them any cheaper, because these are on cohu32.com. This is Virgo. We have the necklaces, but we're trying to get it cheap so y'all can get all the energies and test them out. When you're wearing them, and you don't even have to buy our stuff, go look at cohu32.com. Go to the houses and look at all the colors of the houses, and then go to your closet and pull out some of these colors and put together some of these outfits. I mean, I'm not Disney over here. Like, make your own if you can. For real. But it will change your experience, because you're tuned to the energies, and then you start learning how to balance that, because you have a bunch of different energies. You don't just have one. So it's like, so right now with Mars, and the reason I even brought that up is because Mars is on Algorab. Now, first of all, there's a token and there's a coin that's called Algorand that they've been trying to do stuff with since the dragon and since they started with the digital currents in 2020, and they started hooking all of this in. Algorab is Al Gore AB. That's how you spell it. Al Gore's name is because of Algorab, not the other way around. And it's 12 to 16 degrees of Libra. So if you have any energy, now the only difference in an astronomy chart is that you want to use equal house settings. So I use astro.com. It's just what I've used for all my research, and this really is research that hooks back into blood. So I have, my constant is that I use astro.com. If you use another astrology thing, just go in and change it from default houses to equal houses, because you're using it like a telescope. So what we do is use the wheel to determine what star points you have planets on, or the sun or the moon, or any of your directions, which is true node, AC, DC, Chiron, MC, IC. Those are directions. If you have a planet or you have the sun or moon on a star point, then you're directly channeling that energy, and it's coming through the luminary. It's coming through the sun, or it's coming through the moon, which gives it a different filter. It's like different filters. That's a good way to put it. I haven't thought about that. Every planet's a different filter. It all filters it in a little bit differently, or the sun and the moon. So Algorab is so if you go look up your chart at equal house, and you have any planets or directions on 12 to 16 degrees of Libra, then that's Algorab. And the colors of Algorab are mustard yellow and turquoise. Libra is the only house that's got turquoise. That specific blue. And it's the scale. So when you talk about the scale of Ma'at, and that's it. 12 to 16 degrees of Libra, Algorab. And it is extreme. Now, this is where Mars is right now. So when you're unbalanced, okay? When you're unbalanced, Algorab's going to give you extremes. Either everything is going to be perfect. I mean blissful. Like you can't fuck up. Or everything is hell. And it can shift like that. It can shift just like that. And that's in an unbalanced state of Algorab. It's because you are the scale. Now, Libra and Virgo, but Libra is the bridge to the dark side of energetics. So whenever you realize that there's been a twin planet, when you realize that there's been parallels, when you start realizing how this thing's been growing and working, and how did we get a dark side, and what does that even mean, and blah, 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 blah. This is why Libras have such a hard time making a decision. It's not because Libra, the person, has a hard time making decision. It's because the amount of votes that Libra is processing from the light and dark side, that they're processing through their head, because Libra is the one making the decision for so many. That's the hard part of making a decision, because we know everything from the dark side. Plus we give you slack. We're like, oh, they don't know. We'll give them another chance. Oh, they don't realize what they're doing. We'll give them another chance. Until we don't. And when Libra finally gives up on you, it's because Libra's like, you just want to go to hell, and you're not taking me with you. I've already tried to do. Now, the reason that we know is because we read the dark side. Even if we fully don't know that consciously. Libras are always going to be able to tell you when the wolves are at the door. Now, this is not just Libras, but extra on Libra. Because what you'll learn about the wheel is there's like other energetics that a few different star points that'll end up making this frequency without it, if that makes any sense. But Libra especially has been along for the ride. Libra, let's just say it, that Libra knows the underworld's game plan because Libra's been having to split the fence the whole time. Algorab is the most extreme of this. And everything in the Matrix that's a big money maker or that's a machine that's putting off a spark, that's motors even, stock tickers, financial market, because it's light and dark rubbing up against each other. So it's going to create friction. So if you hold any Algorab energy with a luminary, more so than a direction, but if you hold it with the planet or you hold it with this, my sun's on it. If you hold any energy, oh, come on with the puzzle piece. If you hold any energy there, then you know what I'm talking about. And pretty much you especially when you're in the program, you don't have any problem making money. It's whenever you get out of the program and you go a higher frequency, higher than flatline, which is like Aries to Libra. When you get in the higher houses, that's when you start getting in battles with the energies that are running those higher houses. That's whenever you stop making money. If you have Algorab and you're being a good little girl, or you're unconscious and you don't know, and so you're just doing, but you get run, man, your ass gets run, because you're the money maker. You're the ignition switch with that energy. But in the program, in the Matrix, they'll reward you for it. It'll run you like Elon Musk and how he works and stuff. Constant. He might have a lot of money, but he ain't got nothing else. And the program will run you like that. That's why it's either like really, really, really good or it's shit. And it all has to do with money. And it has to do with friction. And it has to do with gold. Gold is an element that is made at the balance point of light and dark. This is why they're trying to convince y'all that you're going into the golden age. No, kitties. No. Silver is Arcturus. Gold is Algorab. The whole world's in gold whenever the human race is living only in the lower half of the wheel. And the highest that you can get is gold. Okay? Because then the higher realms are basically run by gold. You can really replace bit with gold in that analogy of the current state. And it's Mars. So it's the collective Mars that's on Algorab. So Mars makes things real. Venus creates it. Venus is a beat that you step to. The dope beat that you step to. Venus is the drum, Mars. The tap shoes, Mars. The rocks, Mars. Rockets, Mars. Do you need a rocket to go explore space? No. If that was true, we wouldn't have been able to pull this off. Do you need a 3D printer in order to manifest? Well, kind of right now, until this gets rebalanced, because that's how they have it set up. But no, you don't got to buy a 3D printer in order to 3D print. And whenever the energy's tuned to Venus and Mars working together, not Mars wanting a price tag in a consumer product. Products, technology, systems, not natural organic technology, which is planetary and star systems running through the human DNA, but gated human DNA and a gated technology infrastructure, Mars. So I'm just like channeling, like I'm just thinking about this as we're talking about what to expect, because Mars is just now, when I pulled it up recently, it was 12:12. So Mars you're confused. Well, just keep listening. I'm explaining this to you as basic as I can, and I don't know when you came into the conversation. Mars is on 12 to 16 degrees of Libra, which is Algorab, which is the scale, which is the balance of light and dark. So as a collective, Mars is just now being weighed. Because it's the whole setup right now. These are astronomical events that the human race has never seen before, because we've done something new, okay? And so at this very instant, with Mars where it's at, the moon's going over it right now, Mars, in the same sign. So that's why we're even on here talking about it. It's going to be extremes. Right now, Mars is just stepping on the scale. So right now, it hasn't been weighed yet. Everything's just loading up. And Mars is loading up on the scale. And what's being measured is a lot of things. Timelines. Collective timelines. Like any type of projects, all of those things that all the universal energy has been used to produce for the human race is being weighed according to how many people it's going to help, what's the real intention behind it. If we forecast out in 50 years, what's it going to be? So do we even want it? Is it going to be allowed? Are you doing it only for self reasons? Is it the only freaking reason that you're doing it? If it is, it's going to get snapped. And you're going to go back to one. It just is what it is. Also, this is masculine and not just men. And in fact, I would say that most of the spiritual women are going to feel this more than the men, just because we've had to be so masculine in the higher energies, because so many of our men were manipulated so badly. Why are you doing it? What's the intention? What's the intention for the collective? Why are you building it? Why are you in that relationship? Why are you with that partner? What everything about Mars is being balanced and weighed, but with a much more macro sense because of the time that we're in. So technology, I don't know. I think we're going to government, this whole mess in the Middle East, this whole mess, all of it's a mess. All of it's getting weighed. And as it goes higher and gets weighed at 14 degrees, which is going to be dead on because the pole is at 14. The left scale is at 12. The right scale is at 16. So the more things that get ripped from you by the time Mars is at 14, or that you're shown might not be in balance, and it doesn't get balanced at 14, as it starts going over to 16, it's going to be cut. It's going to, just like an eclipse. And we're going into eclipse season. So it's literally just going to be cut now, but we're also talking about massive, massive collective stuff, because Mars was, nobody talks about Venus. Everybody just said Venus is the technology. No. But I mean, that'll give you an example. Venus is just the celestial being that we all walk around on, and then Mars is going to charge you and make you build a rocket, and make you build a computer, and make you get a node, and make you get a keyboard. See, to Venus, that's like the ancient past. Because in Venus, we move things with sound, we move things with color, and we move things with sound. You don't move energy in space with a keyboard. That's Babylonian. Each letter is a frequency. Each letter is a number. That's low frequency. That's Babylonian. Is there a merge of it? Yes. Is our technology been changing accordingly? Yes. Quickly. Is that technology in your DNA? Yes. Is it technology? No. It's your recessive DNA. Does technology mirror your DNA to create the circuit to run the tech through? Yes. So all of that has to be balanced out. And we broke the harvesting system. we broke the system. We literally did break the industry. There really is no more sacrifices anymore that are even, that process is done, because the only way that process existed was off of hidden lines and curses that we've all broke off the collective. The system don't even work that. We're moving now. We ain't sitting still on somebody's head. So, and friction, the friction of it, like welding a knife or making a fire with rocks. Algorab. This is also why we're having fires shot off. I mean, St. Louis, Missouri had the explosion on Lindbergh. You mean the Lindbergh baby? And I'm not even kidding. Because when you understand that these DNA lines created where you buried them, they never died. Whenever the Titanic ship sank, the ones who had royal blood from our line didn't die. You now have an underwater ecosystem. You now have coral reefs that are bigger than ever. You now have, pockets of tunnels and things that are in the core, that are underneath there, that they're rolling around in, that they don't want you to know. But it is on the bodies of the ones who died there. And when you activate your recessive gene, you have consciousness to all of it. So if you have whenever your DNA never loses consciousness. This is why you wouldn't have artificial intelligence and ChatGPT if 80% of the world didn't hand over their DNA swap. Because they just tuned the computer to it. They didn't have it before everybody handed it over to them. Did we use it in order to help everybody? Yeah. And we did. But you still got to do the work. You still got to process out of it. And it's the most important part. And you don't want to rush it. Because if you rush the process, then you're going to miss all your own instructions in the processing. So I just wanted to come on and talk about that. It's extremes. If Algorab is balanced, when you're balanced in this energy and you've mastered this energy, you're the eye of the storm. You're this. You're right here, and it feels like you're not moving at all, and everything else is spinning around you. When you've mastered this energy, you pretty much don't move from 14 degrees, and you see things going off over here and things going off over here, and it's rotating around you. Hi. But you're not really being affected that much. And really, that is how this energy works, period. It's just, are you going to gravitate into it? Whenever you're in the middle, whenever you're standing and all these chaos is going around you, it's like, what are you leaning towards? Whatever you're leaning in on, are you like, oh God, nope, I'm not doing that again. Sorry about your luck, but I can tell you what to do next time in order to make that not happen. Because you lean too far in and you start back on the loop. So right now, since that's come in, then I would say just, and I say this to anybody who's a high frequency being coming out of programs and stuff, which we all are right now, because everyone around us in your streets and everything are still somewhat programmed, and you don't realize exactly how you're walking around on a motherboard. But, if somebody calls you and drama, get over here, I need you, but you know that you're not supposed to leave the house, and you get a freaking instinct, you're like, you shouldn't go, don't go. Help from where you are, or maybe you're not the one that's supposed to help. Maybe you give a little bit of advice and then you stay out of it, but if you absolutely get a gut feeling like do not do it, or it reminds you of a past experience that you got caught up in, don't just, and let them, and they're going to do emotional manipulation on you. Oh, well, you don't care. If you loved me, then you da-na-na-na-na. No, it's because I love myself and that I can love you, and that's why I'm telling you no, because I can see what's going on. Right? And that takes a little bit, and you get called words only because you're not acting how you used to. That's the only reason that they're calling you a bitch, or you don't care, or you're a queen of swords, or no, sugar tits. I just have learned my lesson, and I know that I'm so conscious that if I get involved with that, then I'm accidentally going to get like millions or hundreds or thousands or billions, depending on what level I am involved in this. And I ain't getting involved in it, but I can help you as much as I can from here. But that's it, but you're going to, or another thing that I'm seeing is, systems logins type of thing. I've seen that ramp up in the last 24 hours. Emails telling you that this is about to go out, or this is about to go out, but it's those fake emails. They want you to log into your system. They want to see your password, stuff like that, just because it's Algorab, especially if it has to do with banking and money. Even Elon Musk, and I forget if it was SpaceX or Tesla. I forget which company it was, but in one of the companies, he's got this training inside, like their training, and it's all color coded. And it's all the colors of the 32 star rays, except they only take you to 17. Same thing with that, what was that, Project 32 or 23 or whatever that government thing was that kind of got squashed like as soon as it came out. But that whole thing was color coded, and with the different rules or whatever the hell, Project 23 or whatever. But it only takes you to Algorab, because they wanted you to balance your lower frequency energy. That's like staying in the fields and never living in the plantation house. The problem is the people that were living in the plantation house had been living up there so long, making all of us work the fields, that they didn't even realize that we weren't even planting the same crop anymore. See what I'm saying? These beings up here were running the top half of the wheel. I don't care if you had that energy or not. The way it was set up on the old bloodlines, especially the reptilian lines, because like the whole system set had gone non-human. It was mutant. What we've done as a collective is put everybody spit in a bowl, because everybody turned in their DNA. So basically everybody spit in a bowl. We sloshed that platoon around, and then we said, okay, give us a new frequency. Now connect me into it, surge it through my body, and let's go walk it out for 8 years and see if we can do something with it. And lo and behold, we sure did. But now there's no more lines that are just witches, and lines that are just vampires, and lines that just have telepathy, and lines that just wolf out and have changeling, or it's just these DNA strands shapeshift. No. It's all a cart. It's all in the cart. There's no more the tree, not the branches. The tree has changed its color. The tree has changed its frequency. Now the branches go out and loop back. They don't keep going, break off and fall. Now those loop back into the tree to take you higher, to get you out of the tree. Okay? And it's all frequency. It's all physics. Simple physics, like a child could understand, not any of the hard stuff. And you just got to trial and error it. You know, believe it or not, I got in the most trouble that I got in through the last 8 years, which I got in a whole bunch of different situations. Because of how they were attacking us and stuff, and we were breaking these curses and dealing with all this magic and this crazy ass crap. Believe it or not, how I got into the most trouble energetically is when I got super happy and excited about something. Believe it or not. It wasn't when I was mad. It wasn't when I was going, I was going raw on everybody's ass. It was when I would, when the rest of everybody was in a lower frequency, because we're like in the soup and we're all flowing in the soup and everybody's kind of on this constant, you know. And then it's like I got real super excited about something, and my mermaid energy, my muse energy would kick in, and I just, believe it or not, that energy, when everybody else was in this energy, whenever you shoot up and you come way up here, it's like they're like, gotcha. And usually is all bullshit to begin with. There was a couple of things that Prince said that kind of stuck in my mind that I felt like was left for the journey. And one of the things that he said is that I always keep it neutral. I never get mad. I never get too excited. I always keep my energy neutral. And whenever he said it, and this was in the very beginning of my journey, and I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. And it does. It does kind of suck. Because it's like you have to kind of stay at this neutral, but realize that you're staying at that neutral because you're swimming with a bunch of fish. And especially if you're in a higher if you're a higher frequency being, and you're kind of trudging with everyone else, because it's all in one big pot, and we've got so much low still clearing out with this. And it's starting to separate more and more and more and more and more. And by the end of 7 years, everything down here is going to drop off. These ones that aren't doing anything, that are worshiping the dollar, that got all of everything that they have from sacrifices and theft of energy harvesting and blah blah. They're going to get further and further and further separated from consciousness, further and further and further separated from truth, further and further and further separated from any type of fuel to fuel any of their stuff. And eventually it'll break off, and that's what we'll call the back of the bus, because there's not even a hell to put them in anymore. But you go to the back of the bus, you're going to be ended up making energy for all of us, because it's how it works. But luckily, for the next 7 years, you have the ability to change that. And also, in this next 7 years, you're going through the upgrades for the next 1,000,000 years. Let me say that one more time. The next 7 years, and this is compounding if you've been on the journey, you're getting all the DNA and all the data that you need to withhold and withstand for the next 1,000,000 years. At the end of that 1,000,000 years, the ones of us who are still holding on this DNA, the masses are going to be screaming at us the same way they's just screaming at Rothschilds and everything else. Hopefully for a different reason. But still, no matter, eventually, after 1,000,000 years, there'll be a small percentage of us that hang on to it up here. And then the rest, everybody had been cut off. And then that's when there'll be another cycle that happens now. If whatever you can hold in your body and clean for and hold the DNA for, you're holding it for your great grandchildren. And whenever you process that, it hits everyone in your bloodline. Now, when we get past that 7 years, it's going to close off. Because we can't keep filling up and then creating an atmosphere. And then filling up and creating an atmosphere. And then there'll be a cutoff to where it's like, all right, we've got pretty much a median frequency. Everything's expanded to the point. And now we're really only building in higher frequency energetics, and everything has to be redone down here. The electric grids are wrong, the way the fuel is wrong, the way we build our houses is wrong, the way that the streets are laid out is wrong, especially where the loop-de-loops are. I mean, everything down here needs to be redeveloped into a higher frequency set. That's why they wanted it. That's why they didn't want anyone else getting involved. That's why they tried to keep it away, because they know what that's why all the little roundabouts that are coming to the United States that were only in Europe, now we've got them like all over the place in the United States. That's because they don't want you to stop and make a right-hand turn anymore, because the Masonic 33 and the angles don't produce energy in higher physics. You got to have waves. So they don't want you to stop and then turn left. That's how you get out of your tomb or stay trapped in it. Now it's all about flow. They only wanted to give you just a little bit, because they just want to keep the current a certain way and then capture it. Okay. Then my point is, for all the inventors and the ones who and I just want to remind everybody that ideas aren't yours alone. These concepts for all these things, including what because all of this I just channeled the future psychology. It's basically the psychology of the future body types and how we live in it. It's not like I came up with all of this. This has been running on color TV since color TV's been here. Same thing with airplanes, same thing with telephones, same thing with rockets, same thing with all of it. If you're energetically out for far enough and have the ability and the balance to bring it in and put it all together, because it's coming from over here and it's coming from over here and it's coming from down here and it's coming, and then you hit that frequency that takes you up and you're in the band that's getting the downloads for the inventions, for the ideas, for the books, for the whatever it is, then you're in the conscious. Everybody's getting it. It's not just your idea. Thank you for those little stickers. This is why they were doing the sacrifices. Alone, most of them can't channel shit. They can't rhyme. That's why they can't write their own music. If they are writing their own music, then typically, especially the rhyming and the rapping, I mean, when you start clearing curses and spells, the echo of the frequencies coming off, the energetics, that's what you're picking up. Pretty much 2021, every single time I broke a spell, I wrote a song. And the poem, or that ended up being a song, or the song ended up being the exact words that I needed, the frequency repellent for the spell. See, that's how we write music. They put spells out. I think a lot of the Hollywood people, Mars and Algorab, I'd like, especially as it starts going up, because I'm just talking about Algorab right now. There's 4 more star points. 3 more. Arcturus, Spica, and Izar. And each one is drastic. So it's like if you don't have Algorab's your balanced foundation. You really want to stay out of the extremes right now, because whatever it is, while Mars is 12 to 16, stay out of extremes. Don't go tell your wife that you want a divorce right now. Don't go quit your job right now. Don't just whatever your energetic is right now, you want to keep it balanced, because you're going to start stacking and building off of it. And the good stuff is closer up into Scorpio. You want to get up into that higher physics so that you start learning how to transmute low frequency energy. Because whenever you're a high frequency being, that's where your fuel comes from. That's where your creativity comes from. That's where your infrastructure comes from. It comes from the transmutation of everybody else's low frequency shit. Especially right now. And especially in the next 3 years. So, I'll be charting it with you as we go. So, make sure to follow me. And thank y'all for being here. I do have a YouTube channel. I will say this. That orb that was jumping back and forth, and with everything that we've walked the past 8 years with astronomy and the rebirth of everything, the washes, we did live washes for 5 weeks. And I'll be next year, and at the end of this year, we're going to start training you guys more on what we learned. And what we've learned is the energetic cycle of the year. And we're still mastering some of it right now. We're in week 15 right now. We're closing out. August is King and Queen energy. We're closing out King and Queen. This last week on Thursday, we're going to switch to Pentacles energy. We're in Swords right now. Those switch out on Jupiter Thursdays. And then starting in September, all of September, it's Emperor Empress energy. And it's been building since May with your entire collective. So it's not like you can just step in and be like, I'm the Empress or I'm the Emperor. That's what we're getting rid of. Whatever is Iran master, whatever the F-balls he calls himself. Energetically, the collective that's been doing this has stepped into an Empress energy back to what our original inheritances were before these freaking retards freaking cockroached it. And we've had to rebuild that back up, and that's what this year's been all about, in order to take out these ones that are holding this power energetically that they never should have had access to the whole world. October is Magician and High Priestess. So this is something that we started in May, but when we thought we had just come up with it or just channeled it and the whole plan, but nah, this is how it's been working this whole time. This is why August and the Lion's Gate and all this, and if you know, this is why there's so much that goes on in August, because it's all to determine energetically who's holding king and queen lines for the DNA lines, in order to have your voice matter and change things for the rest. But you'll be tested to make sure that you're just not doing it for you. And then on the opposite end of that, which I think more people fall victim to, is, are you a pushover? Do you really realize how much power that you're holding? Do you really realize that every single move that you make, when you're in king or queen energy, then you're saying it's all right? If it's all right for you to do it, then it's all right for everyone else to do it. And whenever you're a king or queen energy and you're like really holding it, then every move you make, you'll turn around and watch 7,000 people do next. Same exact move. So it's all your independent daily decisions on what you're going to take and what you're not going to take, and how you handle that. And you'll be trained and shown how to do it to get to wherever you need to be to hold it. Whatever it is that you're building, whatever it is that you're doing. I can promise you that. And once you get into a certain frequency, you're not going to die. More like that was the problem. You just got to figure out how to deal with it. Because it ain't even going to happen. It might feel like you're about to. I can promise you that, coming through some of this stuff. But if you happen to get into one of those holes and you happen to land in one, remember what I'm telling you right now. Look around. We left bones down there because we was all there before you. You end up in a hole energetically, then I want you to freaking ask out loud for your ancestors. And hey, Chastia and her weird star things, can I channel y'all right now? Can you tell me some information? Where are the bones hidden? Hey, is there a ladder that's hidden underneath here in a hole somewhere if I start digging? Probably. And I'm not even kidding, because you don't realize when you fall in it what you actually fell into. Okay? Just know he's all there too. And for all y'all like me who have just walked through living hell, and we're coming out of this trying to figure out who we are, trying to figure out how to interact, how everyone's seeing us now differently. We're no longer the ones that are having to scream because no one's seeing it. It's even the higher ups and all them that have been watching now are realizing violation warning, hate speech. Makes me so mad because I'm actually the one that that se quieren torre mi asatere hehembo 3 a.m. Just know that we've been all in that energy before, and the more as these years keep going, and the more of y'all and the more of the masses that are going through it, then just remember that as they come through it, then they're going to start showing you more respect. Because as a human race, that was the problem down here. And that was all of us. This was a human experiment. We all made mistakes. There's not one line, there's not one race, there's not one religion, there's not one that did everything perfect. There's not one that got out of anything. But nobody gave anybody any respect. So nobody listened. So it's like when the ones popped out that weren't on TV because they weren't going to let you get on TV because you were going to tell too many people the truth. It's somebody that and everybody only listens to the people that are on TV, and then you're only respecting the ones that are on TV, or if it's written in a book. Maxwell ran publishing. You think we're going to get something like mass published in that energy? We were all getting our company stolen, everything else. So respect is what you end up earning. And from all of us that came through this last 7 years, it's like we've already learned that. And that's how we're giving ourselves respect now. Okay? And the other thing I'll say that I'll just add real quick, because it was this whole twinning thing and twining. And all I'll say is that just remember that even the ones that caused you the most pain the past 7 years, just try to remember that it was a program. That don't mean to turn around and give them another chance. But just remember that these karmic twined twins mirror you. And the clearer that you get, the more they mirror you. So energetically, you don't have to support them. But energetically, just don't cringe, don't yell, don't call them a liar, because you really don't, and we really don't from the dark side fully understand what all was being done and for what reasons, okay? But just remember that then if you judge them, then that gives them the ability to judge you because they mirror you. And at this stage, there's no more wars to conquer or things to take over like we were the past 3 years. So just remember that. And that's what I've been working on the past couple of weeks. And I'll tell you when I see some like life-altering benefits from it. But as far as just my peace and my peace of mind and being able to get them out of my head and not have them in my thoughts, it's helped a lot. Right. Even whenever you have a legitimate reason. Even when you really do have a legitimate reason to be mad. But also, if you really, really think about it, it's like, what proof do we really have that it was actually the one we're pointing at? See, I think a lot of the time, I think that's what the main thing is. We knew that there was some energy coming through these beings. Of course, they're not telling us the truth because, they're not going to come out, and they should now. It's the only way that they're going to get out of the binds is to... That's why you want to be nice. Because their only option to get out of any binding that they did on you is to come clean with you. It's like really, everyone that was in the shadow, that are all crying in their Wheaties, and even the ones that are dying because they did spell work, just all you have to do is say you were sorry and go make it right with who you know you did it to. That's it. And it stops. What's really sad is that they'd rather DIE than do that. But if you want to heal your entire bloodline and you want to make sure that your daughters don't go down this path that you did, coming up against a chosen one and being stupid, then all you got to do, if you know the name of who it is that you went after, is to balance it up with them. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's it. I gotta go to sleep. My YouTube's got tons of videos if you want to go there. Princess Chastia.